After 20 years without any children, Yitzchak and Rivka's prayers were finally answered. The Torah tells us in the beginning of this week's Parsha, Parashat Toldot, Vayetar Yitzchak Lashem. Yitzchak entreated God, he prayed to God, Lenochach Ishto, regarding his wife, Ki Akarahi, because she was barren, Vayeater Lo Hashem, and God was entreated, Vatahar Rivka Ishto, and Rivka his wife conceived. The word Vayetar, the expression Vayetar Yitzchak Lashem, Yitzchak prayed before God, is quite unusual. There are so many words for prayer, and yet this strange word, Vayetar, appears in the Torah. Onkelos translates the word simply as Vitzali Yitzchak Kodam Hashem. Yitzchak prayed before God. But clearly there has to be a deeper meaning to the usage of this word, because there are many synonyms for prayer that could have been used, such as Tefillah, Tachanunim, etc. In fact, the Talmud tells us in the beginning of the 4th chapter of Masechet Brachot that each of the patriarchs established a different prayer of the 3 prayers that we recite daily. Some of the examples that are used are Vayifka b'makom, Yaakov encountered God. Vayetze Yitzchak lasuach basadeh, Yitzchak went out to the field to talk to God. And Avraham stood, Amad, he stood before God in prayer. And so many words besides Vayetar could have been used, and yet this unusual expression, this unusual word appears in Parashat Toldot. What is the deeper meaning of the word Vayetar, or the expression Vayetar Yitzchak Lashem? Yitzchak prayed before God. Rashi seems to pick up on this point and explains regarding the word Vayetar, Hirba v'hiftzir batfila. Yaakov prayed an abundance of prayers, excessively. Over the course of those 20 years, Yaakov never gave up hope. He never began to despair. He continued to reach out to God, to call out to Hashem, and to express his deepest wishes and desires for a child, as well as Rivka. And this perhaps carries with it a very important lesson that one should never give up hope, one should never despair, but should continue to open his heart or her heart and reach out to Hashem, expressing their deepest desires and their deepest wishes. That, of course, is a very important point. Nevertheless, I'd like to share with you a very puzzling statement found in the Midrash Rabbah. The Midrash Rabbah quotes the words of Rabbi Yochanan, the great sage of the Mishnah and the Talmud, who explains this statement, Vayetar Yitzchak Lashem, Yitzchak prayed to Hashem, in the following way. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Sheshafach tfilato ba'osher. Yitzchak poured out his prayers with wealth. If the statement Vayetar Yitzchak Lashem was not troubling enough to understand why the Torah uses this unusual word, perhaps this explanation of Rabbi Yochanan is even more puzzling and even more enigmatic. What does Rabbi Yochanan mean by explaining Yitzchak poured out his prayers with wealth? What is a wealthy prayer? In a beautiful explanation found in his Sefer Mayan Beit HaShoeva, Rav Shimon Schwab, the late leader and rabbi of the German Jewish community in Washington Heights in the second half of the 20th century, explains that a wealthy prayer is one that is concerned about the many rather than the individual. Wealth is something that is an abundance. It's plural. It's many. And therefore the prayer of Yitzchak was one that was concerned not only with Yitzchak and Rivka's situation, but with the situation of many other people as well. Yitzchak did not only pray that he and his wife Rivka should be blessed with children, but he prayed on behalf of all of the childless couples that they as well should be blessed with children. And perhaps, in the merit of his concern for others, his prayers were answered. This carries with it a tremendous lesson that when one prays, he or she should not only reach out to God regarding his or her own personal problems, but they should always be concerned about the personal problems of others and pray for their welfare and their benefit as well. This perhaps relates to a beautiful explanation said over in the name of the Vilna Gaon, Rav Eliyahu of Vilna, regarding the context, regarding the form of the blessings in the Amidah, or the Shemona Esrei, the pillar and central focal point of our our prayers that we recite 3 times daily. If you take a look at the Amidah, if you take a look at the Shemona Esrei, you'll notice that the central blessings of the 19 blessings, the ones that beseech God to bestow blessings upon us and to bestow gifts upon us, if you take a look at those blessings, you'll notice that they are all in the plural, We ask God to bestow wisdom upon us, not me. We ask God to bestow forgiveness and inspiration upon us, not me. We ask God to forgive us, but not me. We ask God to redeem us from our troubles and to heal us and to bless us with sustenance and financial success. But in each of those blessings, we don't ask God to bless me, but to bless us with these things. We ask God to bring us back to Israel, the collective Jewish people. We ask God to redeem our justice system and to bring justice to the world. We ask God to remove evildoers and our enemies from our midst. We ask God to reward our righteous people. We ask God to bring us back to Jerusalem, and we ask God to bring the redemption to the entire Jewish people. Each of these blessings is in the plural context. Refa'enu, Barich Aleinu, Tekah b'shofar gadol l'chiritenu, etc. Why are all of these blessings in the plural? The Vilna Gaon explains that a Jewish person never prays solely on behalf of himself or herself. However, or rather, a Jewish person prays on behalf of the entirety of the Jewish people and the world, and therefore the blessings are in plural. One never only focuses on his own problems or her own problems, but always asks God to, in his benevolence, to bestow mercy and kindness upon everyone and help each individual person with their dilemmas and their difficulties. This perhaps is the lesson of Vayetar Yitzchak Lashem. Yitzchak entreated God, not only concerned about his own problems and those of his wife, but rather of those of other people. In the merit of our concern for other people, of our desire that other people should experience the Yeshuot, the salvations that they need from their difficulties, Hashem in his mercy should look down upon us and bless us with the Yeshuot that we need as well. Shabbat Shalom, and have a beautiful Shabbos.